What's up? This is Dad Dirty Spoon from the IWC, and this is the wrestling recap for June 21st, 2013. We've had a very somber week in TNA and a very interesting week in WWE, and I'm here to give you my take on the goings-on in professional wrestling. First off, I don't usually start off with bad news, but I think that the news coming out of TNA is definitely not good, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Wrestling is always and has always been at its best when there has been competition. When Vince McMahon has had free reign, the stories get kind of ridiculous. And unfortunately, when WWE is the only game in town, then WWE tends to appeal to a much broader audience, squeezing out the hardcore wrestling audience, seeing as far as production quality and showmanship, WWE is definitely at the top of their game. So, that being said, apparently, along with all the problems that TNA has been having, they had a very, very, again, Bush League reaction. I mean, how do you go into a state with having wrestlers on the roster, on the regular roster, not being able to perform in that state? You knew you were going to be there. You should have given the wrestlers, people that, in all honesty, they work for you. They may be independent contractors, but they work for you. If they can't perform in that state, then you need to either A, not go to that state, or B, make sure the wrestlers get the proper licensing to perform in that state. That's number one. But with the news of the firings for quote-unquote financial reasons, that the wrestlers not getting paid on time, as well as vendors, all this is telling me is that the business of TNA, not the in-ring talent, but the business of TNA has to change if they're going to continue being an entity in the world. Unfortunately, the days of making money hand over fist with wrestling are over, and that they're going to have to get that front office in line before they're ever going to be a legitimate number two wrestling. I mean, they're number two by default, but to be a legitimate number two with a possibility of being number one, they're going to have to make some changes in that front office. That's all I'm really going to say about that. I hope that the TNA is able to make those adjustments and move on, and maybe one day actually give Vince a reason to care about wrestling. And then, again, who knows if they will or not, that is a discussion for an entirely different video. However, I'm going to move on to brighter pastures for the most part, and I'm talking about the main event for Summer Sla is going to be Daniel Bryan Danielson versus John Cena for the WWE title. Now, I would like to say that Daniel Bryan won a gauntlet match going through Randy Orton, Sheamus, Kane, and one surprise Wade Barrett to become the number one contender. That's what I'd like to tell you. Instead, there was this weird kind of popularity contest, and I don't know. I mean, for me, the journey is just as important as the end result. We all know what the end result is going to be. Daniel Bryan is going to lose to John Cena. John Cena is the guy that WWE has pinned. They have hitched their wagon to John Cena for the past 10 years, and they have shown no inkling whatsoever of changing that. So, I'm not saying that Daniel Bryan is going to be the next WWE champion at SummerSlam. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that John Cena has buried and no-sold every heel that he's gone up against this year. I mean, every heel. Mark Henry, CM Punk, he's really just made it seem like everything is just a foregone conclusion. He's gonna win. It's all a joke. Yada yada yada. I'm not saying the matches have been better, but again, for me, it's all about the story. If this is gonna turn into John Cena thinks he's gonna beat Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan's short, or Daniel Bryan is a vegan. Like, actually, he's not even a vegan, but I mean, knowing John Cena, he may just assume that because that's how Vince McMahon sees him, and therefore that's how John Cena sees him. If it's going to be that tearing down Daniel Bryan for 3.5 weeks, and then Daniel Bryan just has some crazy moment and gets over on Cena, and we're supposed to believe that he's got a shot at SummerSlam, I don't want to see that story. What I want to see is John Cena and Daniel Bryan in the ring doing having amazing matches on Raw, and John Cena being like, this is the best wrestler in wrestling today that's not named John Cena, and I want to test my skills against him. I want to see that, and I want to see Daniel Bryan say John Cena is the benchmark in our business. He's the best. He's the WWE champion, and I want to test my skills against him. This is the story that I want them to tell. When it was Rock John Cena, they can tell it when it's Daniel Bryan John Cena, and it'll mean more because Daniel Bryan can then win or lose. If he's been built correctly, WWE can still make money off that story. They couldn't necessarily do that with The Rock because The Rock was going to be gone, but Daniel Bryan's going to be there. If they can tell that story, then I'm going to be very excited. Then I'm going to be just super pumped for SummerSlam for the first time in a very long time. Also, we are seemingly headed towards Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk at SummerSlam. This is the other match that kind of got fast-tracked after Paul Heyman kind of showed his true colors against CM Punk at Money in the Bank, and I'm just really looking forward to, again, the journey is going to be epic. You're going to have CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar in the match, but on the mic is going to be CM Punk versus Paul Heyman. And I just cannot wait until the promos that these two are going to be cutting inside the middle of the ring, backstage, on Twitter. It's going to be something to behold, and I would suggest that anyone, all of you who are wrestling fans, definitely start following Heyman and CM Punk on Twitter and start DVDRing Raw, because you're gonna want to see some of those promos again. It's the match is important, but the journey to me is just as important. And those are two of the journeys that I think are really going to be important for WWE going forward. And I just cannot wait to see what comes out of that. And that's pretty much all. I mean, more things happened this week, but those are the big stories, and that's really what I want to talk about. And let's just say that I'm cautiously optimistic about TNA. I'm cautiously optimistic about Daniel Bryan and John Cena, but I'm really looking forward to CM Punk versus Paul Heyman on the mic. It's going to start on Monday Night Raw from Austin, Texas. Go Longhorns. And I'm looking forward to the opening salvo in the war of words of CM Punk and Paul Heyman. That's got me 99% more excited than hoping against hope that build up between the match between Daniel Bryan and John Cena is going to live up to what I want it to be. Anyways, this has been That Dirty Spoon to the IWC, signing off.